Welcome to Lecture 1.3, Subtraction with Negative Numbers. Subtraction, if we think about it, if A and B represent any two numbers, then it is always true that A minus B we can write in addition as A plus the opposite of B. So A minus B is subtracting, whereas adding, we can add its opposite, and the opposite of B is negative B. So subtracting a number is equivalent to adding its opposite. Keep that in mind. For example, 5 minus 2 we can write as 5 plus a negative 2. We've changed it to addition. Now you may not need to do this, but when you're working with negative numbers, sometimes it's easier to change it to addition and then follow the addition rules, as we did in our video 1.2. So 5 minus 2 is 3, but 5 plus a negative 2 is also 3. So we apply the rule for addition of different signs. For example, now it might get a little confusing, negative 7 minus 2. Let's change it to addition. So negative 7 plus a negative 2. And let's follow our addition rules. So we have the same sign. So what we can do is say 7 plus 2, which equals 9, but we keep the original sign, which was negative. Okay, so that's our little work area. So if it's the same sign and it's addition, we just add the two numbers, 7 plus 2, but we keep the sign. Originally it was negative, so we keep negative. Let's try another one. 12 subtract negative 6. Okay, 12 subtract negative 6. But let's change it into addition. Okay. If we change this into addition, we can also say 12 plus the opposite of negative 6. And the opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. So 12 plus 6, and 12 plus 6 is 18. Okay, let me go over that one more time. 12 minus negative 6, we can change it to 12 plus the opposite of negative 6. And the opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. So the opposite of negative 6, negative, negative 6, or opposite of negative 6, opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. Okay, positive 6. Try one more. Negative 3 plus 6 minus 2. Let's change it over to addition. Negative 3 plus 6 plus a negative 2. Now, if you remember, with addition, we don't have to keep it in the same order. I'm going to put all the negatives together. Negative 3 plus a negative 2 plus a 6. I'm going to do the math of negative 3 plus a negative 2. So I add the two together and keep the sign, plus 6. So now I have negative 5 plus 6. They're opposite. I take the difference. 6 minus 5 is 1, and keep the sign of the larger number, which is 6, so it's positive 1. And just for emphasis, I'll put the positive there. Now let's put this into use for real world. The tallest mountain on Earth is Mount Everest, and it has an elevation of 29,035 feet above sea level. The deepest part of the ocean is in the Mariana Trench, and its depth of about 36,070 feet below sea level. What is the difference between these 2 points? So let me draw what I mean And if sea level is 0, 29,035 is the height of Everest. So here's my mountain of Everest, right? 29,035. The Mariana Trench is below sea level. It's way down here at 36,070, but it's below 0, so it is actually a negative 36,070 feet, right? And we want to take the difference to figure out the actual whole entire difference between the high point of the Earth and the low point of the Earth. So it is 29,035 minus a negative 36,070. Now remember, when we have two negatives together, it is the opposite of a negative. And the opposite of a negative is a positive, so I can rewrite the problem as 29,035 plus 36,070. So the total difference between the very high point of the Earth and the very lowest point of the Earth is 5, carry the 1, 65,105 feet in total. So this whole entire distance from the very top to the very bottom is 65,105 feet. Now it could be a little bit confusing, so let me go over this one time, the difference between the negative and the positive. When you're reading a word problem, and it might be easier to look at it visually, so sketch it out just like I did. I know Mount Everest is above sea level, and if I, do blue for the sea, let's say, and here's the waves of the sea, and Everest is above sea level, that means it's above sea level. It is a positive. And if the Mariana Trench is below sea level, the 0, it must be negative. The difference between the 2 points is going to be subtraction. But the subtraction of a negative number is the opposite of a negative number, which is a positive number, so we end up adding the two distances to get the total distance of 65,105 feet. And think about it, doesn't it make sense that this whole entire distance is really big? So that's it for subtracting negative numbers. If you remember, change it over to an addition problem. And then if you change it to addition problems and follow the rule of adding negative and positive numbers, you should do okay until you get the hang of negative numbers. So until then, be seeing you.